Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Coco and Daltsies, our landmark 51st episode because we forgot to announce when it was our 50th episode. I'm not Dalts.
And I'm not Coco. So why is 50 a big deal? I mean, 51 is a big deal. 51 is one more than 50, so it should be a bigger deal than 50.
You're saying that because you're 52.
Right.
Every episode for us is a landmark episode because nobody listens. So
Well, and nobody has shut us down yet.
Yes.
The FCC hasn't gotten to us yet.
So the fact that we've made it this far is pretty good.
Yep.
So I'm not Dalts.
I'm still not Coco.
Oh,
we
we already said that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. And tonight we're talking about the Oscars,
Oh,
which,
yeah.
if you're listening to us in real time, happened last night. So, Dalts, why don't you take it away?
So the Oscars are an award ceremony that it's given out to...
I think people know what the Oscars are.
Oh, okay. So the Oscars was a big deal. It was a big deal because many awards were given out.
I think people still know what happened to the Oscars. Can you tell that we didn't watch the Oscars?
So we don't watch the Oscars because we don't like award shows for art. And you may know that by listening to one of our previous podcasts in which we stated that.
Well, and also the Oscars are too long and too packed with stuff that makes no sense. And when we actually went to go see 1917 last night, and when we got home, it was about 9:45
Yeah.
Eastern time or so. And I checked Twitter to see who the winners were, and it said something about Oscars are saying they're going to wrap up by 11, and then at 11:30 they finally got over. So,
And this is without a host.
this is what happens every freaking year. It's just too long. It's boring. It's not interesting. So,
Unlike our love.
exactly.
So Best Picture last night was Parasite, the South Korean film. So it was the first picture to win Best Picture that was not filmed in English.
Oh, interesting.
And
What about the artist? Did that win Best Picture?
So
I mean,
I'm
I know
just-
there was no talking until the very end when the guy said something in French.
you might want to check that, but that's what I've
Okay.
been reading all day long.
Okay.
And I'm regurgitating all the facts from all these places. So we had not seen most of the Best Picture nominees.
We've seen 4 of the 9.
We saw
and
4 of the 9.
We wanted to go see Parasite, but it was only here for a week over the holidays.
I think it was here for 2 days, and people complained because they couldn't understand it.
Yeah, which was very busy. But I'm very excited because now that it's won Best Picture, it's probably going to come back to our theater. So
I also wanted to go see Joker, but it didn't happen. I think we should actually get credit because we saw The Irishman, so I think we should get credit for seeing 2 films of the Best Pictures. And I love Chris Rock's line at the Oscars. He was one of the non-hosts. He and Steve Martin didn't host the opening. And Chris Rock said he loved season 1 of The Irishman.
that's a good line.
That's a very good line.
That's a very good line.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, I have watched no clips from last night whatsoever, so I've seen no speeches. I
Neither
didn't
have I.
get to see Eminem perform Lose Yourself 18 years after he should have performed it at the award ceremony
Which
because that
means-
was when he was actually nominated and won.
We also did not see the flabbergasted faces of many of the people, including Billie Eilish, who was apparently 9 months old when the movie came out.
Which, Jesus Christ.
Right. So the Best Pictures, we saw 1917, we saw Marriage Story, we saw Once Upon a Time and Debacle Land, and we also saw The Irishman. And from what I saw last night, we went to see 1917 on the edge of its thinking that it might be the Best Picture, so maybe we should go see a war movie in the theater.
Because Daltz doesn't like war movies.
Right, because I don't like to see... I'm not entertained by death. I don't know what it is about that, but just,
And another War is Hell movie made by a bunch of white guys. We've seen it all before.
Right, and in a British war movie, too, so there's, they know a lot about war over there.
We just saw
And-
Dunkirk a couple years ago,
Right.
so now we're
Like
just
how
in a
different it
different...
was
Yeah.
how different it was going to be.
The
But-
helmets look different.
But it was, but I have to say, 1917, I don't want to turn this into a 1917 review podcast. However, we want to claim this on our taxes, so I want to talk about it a little bit, is that it was stunning. It was unbelievable. I went into it, as you mentioned, Coco, not a big war movie guy, and I was thinking, okay, maybe if I sit here beside her for 2 hours, I'll get home and she'll make me cookies or something like that. Like maybe there's a trade here that we can make.
Is that a euphemism?
Yes. And so I went in there thinking, okay, this will be fine. We went into theater. It wasn't very crowded. We got in the new luxury seats at the back row.
To be fair, there were like 9 movies playing in that theater, and I said, I will see these 3, and that is the one you picked. So you could have chosen Knives Out or Little Women instead.
Or Jumanji. Or Doolittle.
Neither one of those is one of the ones I said I would see.
Can we do a tangent here and say, what is Robert Downey Jr. doing with the whole Doolittle thing?
You got enough money, RDJ. Like, why are you doing a movie with animatronic animals, like CGI animals?
Wasn't Eddie Murphy? Didn't he do Doolittle too?
I think he might have.
Yeah. So
like
why
in the 90s.
You gotta? Like not all that long ago.
I remember reading something that said that RDJ's been trying to do Doolittle for years and years, and now he's finally got the money and the clout to be able to do it. But I'm like, this is what you waste that on?
Right.
Like, you
all
can't...
those years as Iron Man, and this is what you pay off with?
Right, like you can't do some kind of art house biography.
That's
of
exactly
some,
what I was thinking.
Like 12th century Serbian knight or something.
Well, usually
like you
when
have to do Dr. Dolittle.
An actor has a great deal of success like that, and he signs a deal with the studio, and he says, okay, but I'm going to do these cheesy X movies, whether it's superhero or buddy cop movies or whatever it happens to be. I'm going to do those on the condition that you let me make my own film. And his own film is usually like, I don't know, something very esoteric and nobody can understand it.
Like a 12th century Serbian knight.
Right. And yet he goes and makes Doolittle instead. So
we're disappointed in you, RDJ.
So 1917, very good. So let's look at the 4 movies that we've seen and see which one of those would have been our Oscar winner.
I would have picked 1917.
Would you really?
Of those, yeah. Because if you've listened to the podcast, you know that we did not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Although
we did not.
The best thing about that movie was Brad Pitt's performance, and he did win supporting actor. So
because he took his shirt off, that's why he won.
I mean, he should have been winning every year for the past 30 years, if that were the case.
He should have won from Thelma and Louise at the very first moment when he took his shirt off.
Yeah, so I will agree with giving Brad Pitt the Oscar for that.
I like Brad Pitt.
I thought he was very good in that, but otherwise the movie was crap.
The movie was crap, so let's get that off our list. Not happening.
Yeah.
1917 you liked.
Yeah.
The Irishman, I don't think either one of us really liked that. I don't think either one of us liked it.
No, it was fine.
It was fine.
I liked it more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but...
Yeah, me too.
It wasn't...
But it was twice as long, so it had twice as much opportunity for you to like it.
Yeah, so I wasn't thrilled with it. And then...
Marriage Story gets my vote out of our 4. Okay. So this would be, I guess, the Coco and Daltsies.
Oh, we haven't done that.
Right. So these would be the Coco and Daltsies.
Okay.
And Marriage Story to me, because I could relate to it, obviously, because being a product of divorce. No, that's not right. But anyway, I thought Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, as we would say if she was a hockey player, those 2 performances were fantastic. Laura Dern won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in that role, and she knocked it out of the park as the cheesy celebrity lawyer. I thought she must have had intimate knowledge of that role because she knocked it out really well.
Well, I think her split from Ben Harper was not
fun,
super amicable. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so just like you probably could have channeled Ray Liotta if you would have been in that role, like she probably could.
Right.
Draw on experience for, she's method acting, to the wall for that one.
So what does it say about the fact that 2 of the 4 movies that we saw that were Best Pictures were on Netflix? So
that's true.
We didn't get out to the theater. Is this like, do you think we're the exception or do you think we're the rule? Like, how many people got to the theater to see Parasite?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I would like to think theater is still alive and well, but so moving on to the Best Leading Actor.
What have we seen?
We have seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is Leonardo DiCaprio, and then Adam Driver with Marriage Story.
To be fair, Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes, that is on my Netflix. That's in my watch list.
It doesn't count.
Daltz does not want to watch that. So
I'm not much into the period pieces.
No, that's from like 5 years ago.
That's a period piece. Unless it's today.
So
I didn't know it was a period piece.
Yeah, so I'll watch that at some point when Daltz is otherwise engaged.
Yeah. So Joaquin Phoenix won that one in a runaway, going away from the crowd.
Pretty much he and Brad Pitt were shoo-ins.
Yeah, I think all four of the main nominations or main winners were locked down, right? Like they were pretty much a done deal.
They've pretty much won everything this whole award season, which.
So Adam Driver, like I said, he was fantastic. So
and Daltz does not like Adam Driver. So if Daltz
I don't know where you get this impression from.
Because you don't like Adam Driver.
No, because I didn't like him in the Star Wars movies. I thought he was like he was Darth Vader all over again. I didn't think he was actually bringing anything to the role. Nothing personal against him. He was really good in the hype or the heist movie with. I'll think of it before we move on. But he and okay, let's move on because I'm not going to get the name.
Okay.
Best leading actress.
Who was Renee Zellweger, who the people I know who have seen the Judy Garland biopic have not enjoyed her performance, so I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I like Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story. That's the only one that we've seen, actually, of those 5 flicks.
So we can't really talk about that.
So we can't really talk about that.
But we saw the Best Supporting Actor and Actress performances, and we are down with that. So
yes, so Brad Pitt, like we said, and then Al Pacino and Joe Pesci, 2 of the nominees, were also in The Irishman, which we saw. They were fine, but I don't know. I think I've moved on from those guys.
Just like you don't like Adam Driver, you also don't like Joe Pesci, but you did enjoy the Joe Pesci performance in The Irishman. So.
I really like Joe Pesci in that. Joe Pesci annoyed me. He like burned bridges with the whole Lethal Weapon thing. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not.
Which, did you know they're coming back with another Lethal Weapon movie?
Oh, good. That's what we need. Is this like the Fast and the Furious? Is like one of those things that's just going to keep going and going, and it's going to water the original idea down so terribly that everybody's going to be insulted.
If they thought they were too old for this ish back in the 80s and early 90s, now the 80s were literally 40 years ago now. So how are they not too old for this ish now?
Well, Hollywood, that's all you got to say, Hollywood.
Where if it's not a franchise, they want no part of it. So.
Yeah, it's so sad. So, and then we mentioned Laura Dern as well, winning the Best Supporting Actress role, and we didn't see any of the other ones other than that. So,
to be fair, we do try to see stuff, but the problem is that not necessarily a lot of stuff comes to our area, and then
we have good intentions, people.
Even on Netflix and Amazon, like some of the best picture nominees from last year are still not free on Netflix and Amazon.
Which I don't understand. I thought they were supposed to be faster coming to these services.
Right, like Call Me By Your Name, I still want to see that. That's still not free. The Favorite.
Timothée Chalamet,
who wore like a mechanic's suit, like a shiny nylon mechanic's suit by Prada to the Oscars last night, which people were saying is disrespectful, and I'm like,
what?
Why?
Why is it disrespectful? So wait a minute. Where is the bar here on disrespectful at the Oscars?
I mean,
and what you're wearing.
What's more disrespectful, not nominating people of color,
right,
or like this kid like being like, yeah, I'm not feeling a tux, so I'm gonna wear like a
people should be able to wear whatever they want to wear. Like, just step off. That's brutal. Okay, so the movie that I was thinking about earlier that Adam Driver was good in, the heist movie, was Logan Lucky.
Oh, okay.
It was farcical. Channing Tatum was in it, and your boy Daniel Craig played a redneck. He was really good in it. That was actually a pretty funny ride. And Adam Driver had some range there. So like, I think it's just the role. I think it's just the Darth Vader role or whatever he was.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah. So he son of Han.
Well, to be fair, the Star Wars movies are not exactly known for their stellar writing.
Right.
So,
well, there's not a lot of opportunity there to act, right?
Right. Especially in the final movie where he didn't do a whole lot.
Right.
Right.
So. And where the movies have been pretty much remakes of all the other movies, the
But-
earlier movies in the series.
But we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
No, so what
'cause-
else do we want to talk about with the Oscars? What else are you thinking about the Oscars, Coco?
Well, so as we said, we didn't actually watch the Oscars.
You don't have to keep saying that.
But yeah, so Eminem performed, which I'm not entirely sure why that happened. See,
We got in the Wayback Machine somehow.
this is one of the issues I have with not watching the Oscars, like I said, is that they're just every year they're like, we're going to keep it tight this year. We're getting rid of the host. We're getting rid of all this other stuff. And it's going to be like 2.5 hours long, like the Golden Globes, because everybody loves the Golden Globes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up being 4.5 hours long because they get
And
rid of the
nonsensical,
host.
too.
They get rid of the host, but then they bring in, they have like, you know, some kind of tribute to the music of film during the Weimar Republic. And then they have like, you know, like the 60th,
I missed that.
like the 60th anniversary tribute to like How Green Was My Valley winning Best Picture. Like they get rid of all the stuff that should save time, and then they just stuff it full of all this other stuff that nobody gives a crap about.
So here's what
And-
they should do. I've got the solution for the Oscars.
Okay.
So give the awards out like you do. You know, contain that a little bit better.
Right.
I mean, they do as well as they can because they play people off and everybody always gets ticked off and all that sort of stuff. But they do as well as they can.
But then they allow like Joaquin Phoenix and Renee Zellweger to ramble on for like 4 minutes.
But
And-
so what they need to do is have a host who keeps things on schedule, which is impossible, I know, but somebody who's like Ricky Gervais, only not Ricky Gervais with, you know, he doesn't give a crap about anything because that'll just throw things down the hill. So
And-
you need to do that. You need to give your awards away. You need to have the 5 nominees for Best Song played.
Yeah.
And you need to have the tribute to people who died.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. And
None of this other superfluous stuff.
And that-
Superfluous stuff.
And that's the thing too. Like I understand that this is like the one night that the people who do the sound mixing are gonna get recognized, but nobody cares about that. So why don't you move all the stuff like costume design and sound mixing and sound editing, like move all that to like the day before, and they can have their own ceremony, and then you can throw up like, you know, the 5-minute clip of these are all the winners
Yep.
and these are snippets of their speeches.
Yep.
Like, you know, I understand that nobody cares about these people the other 364 days of the year, but when you're looking at a 4.5 hour long
Right.
Oscars telecast that everybody complains about every year. And you know what? Get rid of the freaking red carpet too. The red carpet is like so BS.
No, but people
Like-
love that. That's all that really people would pay attention to now, right? No, people don't watch the show; they watch the
Right.
red carpet.
Well, you know, I don't even. Here's the thing I care about. Like, I'm going to go on Twitter. I'm going to see who won the major categories because, yeah, I don't care about sound mixing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to see the pictures of the dresses, and that's all I care about. You know, that's going to take me 20 minutes,
Right.
Maybe 30 if I really want to seek out some esoteric type thing.
Well, and that's
So-
what I did in my casual drive-by of the event. Is that I just went on Twitter
Mm-hmm.
and or Facebook and just kept track of who was winning along there. Like I didn't want to tune into the show. I had
Right.
other things that I wanted to do,
Right.
and then I can also multitask. It's like, oh yeah, Brad Pitt won. Oh yeah, it looks like he said something funny. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Like I didn't need to sit through 5.5 hours of TV in
Right.
order to watch 3 minutes of Brad Pitt.
Right, exactly. So,
Or if I wanted to see Brad Pitt, I'll go on YouTube and watch it the next day or an hour
Right.
later or whatever it happens to be.
yeah, totally. Especially with it being a Sunday night, and I know this is such like an old complaint, but like I gotta work the next morning.
Right.
Like I gotta get up. I got somewhere I gotta be at 8 a.m. Like if I have to get up at 6 o'clock, or if you have a dog who has to get up in the middle of the night, 5:54, because she can't wait another 6 minutes until your alarm goes off.
You're not bitter.
Like I'm not staying up until like midnight to watch the whole show and then get ready for bed and then go to bed. And then,
Here's what I don't understand about this whole Oscars telecast thing is it's what Hollywood does. They put on a show. That's what they're equipped to do, and yet they fail every year. So why not make a weekend of it? Do Friday night is the production night, and then you have red carpet for those people, and then stream it at the same time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then Saturday, have the main event. Have like all the big, the actors and the best picture and the best director and best song and all that. And then, or maybe during the day, have a concert with the 5 song nominees playing.
Oh, yeah.
And then at night, have the awards. And then Sunday, everybody is hungover. And then Monday, you go to work. Like, instead of this whole Sunday night business and jamming it all in. And I mean, I know Hollywood's not real life, so nobody's going to work on a Monday in Hollywood.
Right.
But it would make it a little bit more accessible for us.
I don't know. It's still an industry town. I mean,
the everyday people, yeah.
Yeah, the everyday people.
But all the people that are filling the hall there and
right.
watching the nominees, and Billie Eilish, she's not getting up at 7:30
right.
on a Monday to go to work.
Like Joaquin Phoenix is eating his like Beyond Burger at midnight, and then he and Rooney Mara are sleeping until 11 to
right.
sleeping it off.
When the maid rings the bell
right,
downstairs or whatever it happens to be.
So this is when I was in college back in the 90s, which I understand. You know, some of you might not have been born then.
It's almost before the internet.
Like that was back when it was the Super Bowl for women. So my friends and I, we would do all of our work. We would have it all done by like 5 o'clock on Sunday, all of our homework. And then we actually bet on the major categories. It was just like a quarter a category. So it was like vending machine money, right?
It wasn't like cow patty bingo or anything like that?
No, not at all. Even though I did go to school in northeastern Missouri.
Okay, that's why I was asking.
So we just, bet a quarter each on, like 6 or 8 major categories. And then we would just turn on the red carpet and we would just sit there and we would like order pizza. And it was
and you
so
wouldn't
great.
really pay attention, right? You it was in the background.
No, we watched the whole thing. We watched the whole thing. And now here
Nobody talked?
Now here I am 20 years later, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
Like, every year, Daltz is like, hey, should we watch the Oscars? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm not watching this. Even though we should, because we have this podcast.
Because we do the podcast.
And we have...
I felt a professional obligation. That's why I wanted to watch it.
And I'm the one who's like, I'm not going to work. Like, let's just, let's go to a movie. Or you watch it, and I'll just drink. Like, I think that was seriously one of the options. When you were like, should we watch the Oscars? I was like, you watch them. I'll go in the other room, and I'll have Netflix on my computer. And
right. You were boycotting the Oscars, and I was a diligent, determined, dedicated employee of Coco and Daltsies, Inc.
I'm sorry, podcast listener, that Daltz wants to make this like a really good experience for you, and I'm just cock blocking it. So sorry about that.
Way to go, Coco. So, any other thoughts on the Oscars? Do we want to talk about Eminem, or do we want to just move on?
I think we already talked about Eminem.
Enough, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't really think of anything else I want to talk about, and the producer is looking at me like I should refer to my notes.
I'm excited that Parasite's probably going to come back to the theater. Like, I really want to see it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that was a reactionary, like, let's not give it to a white guy victory? Or do you think... I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so from all accounts, it's brilliant. But
everybody...
That doesn't necessarily lock down an Oscar.
Right, yeah. No, everybody that... All the reaction I read said that, like, this was the right call. It wasn't clearly, like, a crash situation where everybody's like, oh, my God, this is horrible.
Or the infamous Shakespeare in Love.
I'm the only person in the world who doesn't have an issue with Shakespeare in Love winning the Oscar that year.
Really?
Yeah.
What were the other nominees? To put you on the spot?
Well, it was Saving Private Ryan. That was the one it beat out.
See, I could see that because it's a war movie.
Yeah.
And it's Steven Spielberg.
Right. Who won director.
But it's his movie. Usually the movie and the director are the same, right?
Yeah. Sometimes they split the vote. But
yeah.
Maybe because I haven't seen either one of them in the 20 years since they both came out. Mm-hmm. If I rewatch them now, I might feel differently. But I just felt like at the time... the Shakespeare in Love script was like, it was so clever and witty, and it did a really good job of bringing in all these elements of actual Shakespeare plays. And Saving Private Ryan was just kind of like a very straightforward war movie. Now, the first 30 minutes is Saving Private Ryan, where they're actually on the beach and you're in the battle. Like, that was amazing. Yeah. But beyond that, it's like, okay, well, they're going to save this guy's guy whose family is all died in the war, and, okay, great, whatever, which I kind of felt like there were some elements of that in 1917 because they had to go save the brother from being ambushed by the Germans. And there were a couple of other things too, but I didn't feel like I wasn't sitting there like, oh, great, Saving Private Ryan in World War I, I wasn't unhappy about that. But
also one of the best subjects of parody of the David Letterman top 10 lists when it was when he used to do best porn movie names, and it was Saving Ryan's Privates.
Nice.
So I thought that was worth putting into the podcast.
Are we going to end on a porn note? Is this a good place to wrap up?
Oh, the music's playing. So
When we referenced porn.
Yeah, the producer actually is out of the booth. He's gone. We've lost another producer.
This isn't episode 51. This is episode 69.
No.
Dear listener.
No. Now we've got to cut that out. Okay, for another week, I think we're shambolic now at this stage. So,
for this year's Coco and Daltsies, I'm not Dalt.
And I'm not Coco.